I always say that my worst fear is managing my humanity and my divinity. And
Oh, wow.
I learned that in the past, the past 3 years, that's been like heavy on my heart. And it's almost, I mean, it's a fear, but it's also, I think it's a good fear because it keeps me, accountable, and it keeps me, just like, it makes me check in with my spirit. So, if my spirit's ever getting agitated, it's like, okay, wait, you can trust yourself, trust that intuition, figure out what's going on, because right now you're showing up as the older version of yourself, or just like you're showing up and doing certain things that you, maybe lessons you've already learned. So just constantly check in that way. But tying that back to what we were saying a second ago, I just think that it's important to kind of just like live, or try to live in the divinity, because if not, you'll be putting a lot of things before yourself, and you'll miss out on the bigger picture.
Yep.
You'll miss out on, like, I don't know, like, whatever gems was there for you to find in the first place. Like how you said, you'll go a whole entire year, and then say, okay, like what did I miss? I don't know. I just think that if we spend the time focusing more so on managing the humanity and the divinity, we will actually be light years ahead of not everyone else, of ourselves. Like, we'll actually be able to see what's in the next dimension for real.
Yep.
And sometimes, our purpose moves into the next dimension. You're too busy stuck in the last dimension. It's like, you've already accomplished that. You've already came, you saw, you conquered, like, you realized
and become enlightened. And,
yeah.
And I love that divinity spiritual angle to all of it too, because like, if you look at the words, like the derivative of the words enthusiasm, in theology, study of God and religion, and inspiration, in spirit, right? Like, they didn't know what to call that force. So they basically just said it was God, right? Like, it was divine. And like, I love talking to creatives because you've mentioned it a couple times now, right? Of that spiritual connection.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you mentioned like planting the seed and where does that come from? And I'm so intrigued by that process and what it all means, because I think, creativity is a blessing, and like trying to harness it when it's there. And it's a interesting process that I like to deep dive into and hear from other people on.
Yeah. And to piggyback off what you said, I think it's also important to be comfortable in whatever, like, when you're trying to get into that creative space, like, lean into the uncomfortability of, like, I don't know, not feeling like you're in that most like heightened, creative space or whatever, because usually that's where all the real gems lie. So that once you're open to create again, you'll be able to, if you're journaling and all that jazz, like, you'll be able to go back and like apply all of those lessons to whatever it is that you're called to create next,
Do you mean like finding times and ways to be creative even if lightning isn't striking? Like that type of thing?
Right. Yeah. And just leaning into being a little uncomfortable, even if it's not coming, it's actually there. Like what you were talking about, just being in the moment and, not judging yourself for I don't know, just not being able to perform the way that you did last year or last week,
Yeah.
I'm curious, how does tapping into that divinity affect your process in creating? Like,
oh, it's my secret weapon.
Yeah.
Like, for real. It truly is. I think that ultimately, like, we were all born with like gifts and stuff like that. That's why I said earlier when you said, how long have you been doing music? Like, I've always been able to sing. I've always like, been pretty gifted in that space, but a lot of people can do that, A lot of people can sing, but again, I didn't fully develop a real, like my pen game didn't get strong until I tapped into the divinity, until I like took a step back to understand where I've been and where I'm going, how I can like make all of my experiences and my influences, how can I like make it unique to me, you know? So
Yeah.
so it's definitely helped in that area, just to like help me understand who I am and what all this has been for in the first place, you know? So and it's helped me to lean into to be okay with like my fears and my inadequacies or my doubts and all of that. Like it's shown me that the things that I thought would count me out is the thing that I would be like carrying, you know,
We're
and
so
that would
hard
work
on ourselves,
for
right?
my good. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
honestly wild.
As human beings, we're incredibly hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's tough dealing with that sometimes.
Yeah, it can be, but it's I think as long as we're disciplined, I've been talking about that a lot lately. I think discipline is true freedom, and when I'm not disciplined, that's the danger zone, you know, because you know, again, the agitation of the spirit starts to happen, and then I don't feel like I'm in my body anymore. I can't hear anymore. I can't hear the divine. I can't hear what's next or where I'm supposed to go. And I know that, you know, because I've been able to taste flight, because I've been able to taste it and I've experienced it, and I saw what the outcome was from just like diving into that. Yeah, that's the fear of it all. Again, managing the humanity and divinity. It's like, no, I got to live in this space, but it's that's hard. But you know, as long as you're disciplined, then yeah, like I said, that's real freedom. Like you'll be safe there.
Yeah, well, now you know why I named my app.
Yeah, I was saying that the whole time.
You know what?
I created a fitness app I've been working on for almost a year now, and the name of it's Discipline. For that exact reason, though, you know. And it really is a freedom that when you put your foot down and get to work and do the things you know you're supposed to, not the things you want to do, it opens you up to get that freedom, to get those results and get where you want to go. So
yeah,
I love that you're saying that. And you did mention influences as well. So I'm curious, what have been some of your biggest artistic influences?
Oh yeah.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoyed the video.
And subscribe and hit the bell for a whole lot more to come.